So we've reached the end of the forms module, and we now have some shiny new form components that we can use anywhere else in our application. And the code that we've written here is the sort of code that we write once and then reuse as many times as we want, even across different applications, if we happen to be using the same forms library and the same CSS framework in this case, because we're wrapping our components in semantic UI. So let's just take a very brief look at the summary. And we've taken a look at forms once again, and in this case React Final Form to make it easier to create our forms. And we've seen in this particular section that React Final Form takes care of the business of the onChange handlers that we need when a user types into a text box. Then React needs control over what's going into that input so that we're not updating the actual DOM directly from our input fields, but React is taking care of the update to the actual DOM. And we also looked at validating our forms with revalidate, and once again the caveat here is that client-side validation can be very easily worked around. And we've already seen how easy it is to send data to our API server via a tool like Postman, which obviously isn't going to have any validation on the data that we send up to our server. So validation on the client is a nice to have, we should definitely include it, but it's not as important as validating the data on the server. So now that we have the ability to create forms easily, one of the things we're going to need to create is a login form or a registration form. But before we get to that stage, we're going to need to take a look at identity. And that's what's coming up next.